Hello everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Shadow Jerry, and I am currently filling in for Theo, as he is not available at the moment, but he will be right back. I've always wanted to share my opinions on the Animated Storytime Community. I've got a list totaling 5 opinions on the animation community, so let's get into it, shall we? Number 5. Animation versus animatics. Now, almost every animated storyteller has heard this argument at least once in their YouTube career. If it doesn't give the illusion of life, it's not animation. This isn't even fully animated. Why do you keep calling yourself an animator? Or just the plain old, this is not animation. A tired argument, yes. But does this argument also hold some merit to it? Well, yes, and here's why. To the extent of my knowledge, in order to understand animation, you have to know what it's like to be in motion, correct? Well, here's the thing with most animated storytimers. Only about a small percentage of them actually fall into the category of what quote-unquote real animation is supposed to be. This includes, but is not limited to, in-between keyframes, breakdown poses, squash and stretch, etc. As for the others, well, while I do find their stories quite interesting and hilarious, I would put them in the category of storyboard artists. Granted, they can still refer to themselves as animators if they wish to. Besides, you don't really watch animated storytimers solely for the animation. You mostly watch it for the interesting or hilarious stories being told. Number 4. Do backgrounds matter? In my opinion, not really. As said in my previous statement, you mostly watch animated storytellers for the stories being told. The white void is nothing to be ashamed of, but adding a background could indeed help. In other words, it's not completely necessary, but it is highly recommended if you want to stand out. I have a feeling that's why it seems like critics are obsessed with backgrounds. And that brings me to number 3, critics of the community. Ah yes, when you hear critics of the A.S.T community, who do you usually think of? Daft Peanut, Stax? I guarantee these two are the only ones who come to mind. If there are any more critics in the animated storytime community, please let me know. I would surely like to hear their opinions as well. These two are probably the only legit critics in the community as far as I know. And while Daft Peanut's videos are either a hit or a miss to me, he has somewhat improved his content and brings up some very good points. Final score, if you like numbers, Daft Peanut gets a 6 out of 10. Same goes for Stax as well, even if the pupils in his new top sprite sort of creep me out. But keep in mind, there are the bad ones, and when I say bad, I mean making videos with the sole intent of bad-mouthing or undercutting a popular A.S.T YouTuber, throwing around accusations wildly without merit or proof to back up the claim, having the audacity to call their video a review when it's really just a plain old rant, or someone just jumping on a hate bandwagon. But then again, there's rotten apples in every community. While on that subject, who here has legitimate evidence of Wolfie Chew's voice being fake? Alrighty then, moving on. Number 2. Is the A.S.T community the most generous or legit community? A lot of people have their eyebrows raised when it comes to specific A.S.T YouTubers in the community. And you don't have to look very far to figure out if this is true or not. Just type Speechy in the search bar, upon which will yield a good bit of critique videos. Some are good and some are just horrible. Or you could just watch Daft Peanut's recent video on Matt Spicer or Fox Goodman. But overall, the A.S.T community seems to be the most generous community among YouTube, despite some of the minor flaws. Number 1, hard mode. I don't think I really need to get into detail when it comes to this, but as an animation novice myself, and I already know how hard this genre is to keep up on YouTube. Animation takes a lot of work, and to shell out a new video with outstanding quality every week is next to impossible. A lot of people don't realize the struggle, but being an animator, storytime teller, or otherwise on YouTube is like playing a game on the hardest difficulty. Aside from actually animating, especially if you work alone, you have to make scripts, record your voice, draw a background and props, among so many other things. You know how it goes. If you didn't, well, now you know. But I applaud animators who put a lot of effort into what they do. I think Katsune pretty much summed it up very nicely with her comment on Mark's video, which will be in the description if anybody's interested. I recommend you watch before making the decision, because he says some pretty honest things, and some of those things I actually agree with. And I quote, "I try my absolute darnest to fully animate my videos with motion and stuff. Each video I make, believe it or not, takes over 60 hours to complete. It's definitely the hardest genre to keep uploading regularly with on YouTube, but I agree, some of the people in the community don't actually animate and spend 5 to 10 hours on their videos instead of the ungodly amount of time it takes me. I'm not mad over it though. If some people prefer making animatics and have fun doing that, then power to them. They don't harm any animator, and YouTube, in my opinion, is about having fun. And that's what it really all basically boils down to. Doing YouTube is all about doing what you love, whether it be animation, music, storytelling, or some other fourth thing. Do what you love to do. Well, that wraps it up for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. This has been your friendly neighborhood Shadow Jerry, and I will see you later. Take care.